Good evening. I'm just in the middle of a little walk, city walk. So tomorrow morning, or perhaps even today, very late tonight, or at the latest tomorrow morning, I'm going to start a series of experiments which I'm certain will have a very large audience, like a lot of, it will stir a lot of interest and a lot of popularity. And I'm now, of course, referring to the long-awaited experimentation with alchemy, specifically creation of metals, and even more specifically, creation of gold, which of course is the holy grail of alchemy since forever. And I'm sure that even the thought about it, it generates a lot of excitement. I would say that without my intention, I've already conducted. I'm doing. That I conduct all sorts of experiments, and many times, I don't even understand what I'm doing. And but it's like that with new science and totally new science, and it's complicated science because we are dealing with creatures that are intelligent. It's not just like, any kind of natural science and any kind of science in general is complicated, but here there is the issue that I walk alone and with zero background, and also it's a new science, but also I'm always stressing, at every opportunity I stress very boldly that the nature of the creatures that I deal with is that they are intelligent and they possess symbolic language, and the experiments are done under the pretense of natural science, or perhaps even medicine, or later we can speak about computer sciences, but it's actually the methodology is taken, a lot of it is taken from the realm of social sciences, because as I said many times, it's actually a exercise in communication with new civilization, first contact with new civilization, the Neo civilization. So a lot of it is actually a practice of symbolism and symbolic languages and symbolic understanding. So without my intention, I've two chunks of metal, specifically 5 shekels points where partially changed their nature, and this is something that you can see. It's something that you can see with the naked eye. They do not look like 5 shekels, and they do not look like eroded 5 shekels. At the beginning I saw that maybe they were just eroded, like maybe the Nero just scraped some of the material, but it's not exactly so, because it feels like 5 shekels, and it's roughly the same volume, but it's like it doesn't look the same at all. And I wouldn't recommend anyone to touch it. I have my immunity or resistance to such things is much higher than the average Homo sapiens, and it's like I cannot hold it for more than a couple of seconds. Put it simply, they did something radioactive with it, and the fact that we now have 2 radioactive coins in our balcony, which is but we have other this balcony is also already one balcony, a cursed balcony for sure. For many reasons that you're aware of, it's a cursed balcony. So now, on top of all the curses and the plagues, symbolic and non-symbolic, and of course the many creatures, pseudo-biological creatures that crawl and infest the place, we also have 2 radioactive 5 shekels coins. So okay, I mean, yeah, perhaps not the most like hospitable balcony in Rishon LeZion, or perhaps even not even in the world. But I do want to purposely like now conduct a series of experimentation with the purpose aim of creating gold. Now you can ask, okay, Noam, what about diamonds? You said that you like diamonds as well, but I have a problem with diamond. Maybe, I mean, some of you can actually like come up with a way to solve the problem, but the problem is that I don't have diamonds. I mean, the closest thing that I have is a very small diamond which is embedded in a ring that, I mean, my mother's ring that I already, I bought, I mean, I bought it for you remember the issue. I bought it from her and she didn't like the fact that I even take it like to my room, so, and she wanted it back, and now I don't have any diamond to mess with, and this diamond was problematic because it was very small and it's part of like a ring, so if someone like it's got like a big diamond for me to, I will probably return it like in possibly the same condition or possibly a little different condition, and possibly with an interest of several similar diamonds. I don't know. And until that point, and I don't have like. Now, as I said, the Neros can understand symbolic language, but they need to like, before they can refer to something symbolically, they need to touch it, they need to feel it. And even if I mean, they did touch a diamond, I don't have any way to, I can't find a way to symbolically convey this information to them. And maybe one of you have any, but I mean, the usual, I mean, there is no, why should we believe that, I mean, the usual like symbolic representation of diamond that, I mean, we're all aware of, I'm not sure that it's even universal in here on Earth, and it's also symbolizes many other stones like gemstones, and I mean, why should they understand it to be diamond, and how can they understand, they interpret it, like how can they create diamonds from it, like what kind of a diamond? There are many questions here that I don't even have an answer for them. So why should I assume that foreign intelligence, a foreign civilization will understand something that even I cannot like convey clearly enough in a way that I could have understood if I was in the other side? So gold is simpler in a way that, I mean, many of you already suggested to represent gold. I mean, humans mostly, I mean, if you want to represent gold, like for humans, you will draw, I mean, this is also not universal. I mean, it's probably, I mean, gold is pretty much universal. It is known around the world for many millennia. But the representation even is not that universal. I mean, I think that possibly the most common symbol today would be like that of a brick, like that is shaped, I mean, like a loaf of bread. I mean, approximately the size of a loaf of bread, but in a trapezoid manner and like with geometric lines. But that's pretty arbitrary. And of course, the yellow. I mean, the yellowish bling, which is the most common like attribute of gold since forever. But this is actually not that universal, because who the fuck uses this? I mean, according to the myth, they have like many of those exist in Fort Knox or something like that. But I don't know if it's true today. And this is not actually the way that most people, I mean, almost all people encounter gold during their life. It's kind of like an example of a symbol that, I mean, for a long time now, the symbol that is used is mimetic. I mean, it's imitate something that indeed related to the thing that the symbol symbolizes, but I mean, no one actually touches it. It's like a little bit like a save icon, or that, I mean, that save icons are still to this day commonly in many software applications. They are symbolized with the icon of a floppy disk, of a 3.5 or 3.25 inches floppy disk. I mean, I myself still used plenty of those when I was younger, but many people, I mean, there are many human beings today that have never seen like one of those like with their own eyes in their life, and still they understand what it is. Like I asked my daughters a while ago, and they are like 6 and 7 years old, and maybe it was maybe a year ago, so they were like 5 and 6 years ago, a few years old, and I asked them what this signs means, like the signs of the diskette, the floppy disk, and they accurately answered that first it saves, and also they understood that it's a floppy disk. To my amusement, because I don't think that they ever seen one in their life, like a real one. But yeah, I mean, so the gold like brick is something like that, because it symbolizes the gold in the best way, even though like no one ever saw it. I mean, almost nobody sees it. I mean, of course you can symbolize gold like using like the shape of a golden nugget, but golden nuggets are actually also in our days very rare, and they can only be interpreted as part of like a larger drawing. Like, I mean, the nugget itself could not be understood as a nugget unless like it's, I mean, if you are roaming Las Vegas, like the strip in Las Vegas, and you are in the entrance to the Golden Nugget Casino, and like there are many like other representation of money and gold, and then you see the shape of a nugget, you understand, okay, that's a golden nugget. But outside, I mean, if you just see the drawing, like, I mean, whatever you are, I mean, in a random place, a random time, you wouldn't necessarily understand that it's not a golden nugget at all. And of course, you can symbolize it with a coin, golden coin, but this symbol, I mean, I thought it was more common in the past, but today most coins are not, almost like all coins are not made of gold. And I mean, many of us actually have encountered golden coins. I mean, in all sorts of like occasions, but even that is not that common. Like, I mean, my brother, for example, he has like a humble but nice personal collection of coins, historic coins. So yeah, so I mean, so he has in his possession, like, I don't know, silver coins, or maybe small amount of gold coins, but then a lot of course, copper and things like that. But most people don't even see gold coins, and the golden color is, I mean, the color of gold is not enough to actually convey the message that a coin is a coin that is made out of gold. But I mean, nevertheless, there is an answer to this conundrum that, I mean, many of my subscribers already actually proposed, which is to use the chemical definition of gold, which is which relies on its elemental number, which atomic number, which is 79. I mean, there's also, can you use the AU, which is some, I mean, but why should we like assume that the Neo civilization speaks English, or even it's not even English. This word actually is derived from Latin even. So I mean, I don't know if they speak Latin, but we can assume that they know what 79 is, not the number itself, but of course 79 points. And I mean, several subscribers actually propose that I will just describe gold as maybe as like a circle with 79 points inside it. I mean, that represent the 79 protons in the atomic the gold atom. This is kind of like actually this is reminiscent of the first scientific presentation model or symbol of the atom that was proposed by a French scientist. I don't remember his name, but he actually thought of the atom like as a cookie with crumbles of chocolate, like that the protons are like crumbles of chocolate that are dispersed on the atom, and this resembles this symbol. Today, I mean, it's all, I mean, even in elementary school or junior or high, or every teacher, I mean, knows to teach the students that it's not the real way that atoms look like. But actually, they don't have a shred of a clue how real atoms look like. I mean, nobody really knows how atoms look like, besides my dear friends, the Neos. They actually know how atoms, but humans don't know. I mean, it's true that, I mean, there are kind of like sophisticated electron microscopes that can they can actually sense molecules and perhaps even atoms. And I've seen the videos on YouTube, but it's more like for symbolic representation and again, I mean, even this is maybe the best resolution that humankind can actually achieve, which is something like 50 million times magnification. It's like, I mean, my microscope its highest is 1500, which is pretty good for optical microscope, but I mean, it doesn't get much better than 2000 for optical microscopes. But this electron microscope can get up to 50 million magnification, but still you can only see atoms as dots. You cannot actually see the way atom looks like. And I don't think that it's even possible for humanity at the current understanding of physics. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that it's even possible for humans to visualize atoms the way that they actually are. But it's probably possible for the Neros, and some would argue that they already did it. And some would argue that you have already seen these representations in the YouTube videos that I uploaded. This is all very speculative, but it's interesting. Anyway, I will perhaps use this drawing in one of my experiments. I will conduct several experiments, one after the other, or maybe in parallel. We'll see about that. I'll speak about it in a minute, but I also want to use the most sophisticated symbolic drawing of the gold atom, which is to define the gold not by the number of protons but by the number of the electrons, and which should, naturally, in the natural state as it's found in the ground of the Earth, it's the same, 79 electrons. But more importantly, when you describe electron, you can also describe electrons they belong to groups, and the way that it's taught, like in low-level chemistry or physics, that they revolve around the nucleus of the atom, in like the planets revolve around the suns in larger and larger circles or ellipses. But so that's the way it is drawn, like with several circles. Larger and larger circles that the electrons are represented as dots that are groups of them belong to different layers, different circles. It's actually not. It's actually not true. It's a nice drawing, and I will use this drawing because I think it conveys, the nature of gold even better than the cookie dough with the 79 protons. But I don't know what my friends will actually like more, and perhaps they'll understand both of them. Perhaps both drawing will be understood by them. But I will try both. As I started to say, it's not actually the way that electrons are revolving. This is also an oversimplification, because electrons are not like planets that revolve around the sun. It's not a correct representation of the way that they actually move inside the atom. So I will use both of these. But there are still many questions that are left open. So first of all, I will use two mediums, because I need a medium. They don't really. The neurons use something in order to create things. They don't create it out of nothing. At least to my knowledge and according to my experience until now. But maybe they can create something out of nothing. I don't know. But until now, it was always that they created something out of something. So they needed material. So I will use my plan is to use two kinds of materials, with different experiments. First is an aluminum foil. I bought a big bunch of it now. Aluminum foil is good. It's great for that purpose for two reasons. First, it's easy to draw on it, to sketch it and to make a drawing on it, which will be very helpful in order to actually draw the atomic sign that I just described. And second, it's really thin. So even if I don't have a lot of neros, I didn't really, my experiments regarding scalability were proved modestly successful until now, but I still have very long way to go with regard to scalability. So even, in short, it will not be, potentially it will not be that much of a work. Even the 5 shekels, required a lot of semen for me to use, and it was done during a lot of time, a long amount of time that they kept in the freezer. So and not all the 5 shekels were actually converted to the radioactive material. Perhaps we should be grateful for that, because I don't really know what's the implication of if it was all converted to uranium or plutonium or something. It could be nice, but I don't know. So it's not a lot of material, so probably not be a lot of work. And it's also conductive, which is something we'll speak about in a minute. The only downside is not a big downside. You can call me greedy, but it's the only small downside is that if in case that I succeed, I'll probably be very hungry for more. Okay, and I want I don't want a paper leaf of gold. I want buckets of gold, of course. I just walk there right now in the Rothschild Street in Rothschild Street in Rishon LeZion, and they have many. They have several stores that all sorts of jewelry and diamonds and gold stores that with a big sign on front of the on front of the opening of the store that we buy gold in cash, gold for cash. So yeah, I'm already imagine myself walk to their stores and just throws a bunch of take this and put on the counter I don't know, rocks a bucket full of gold, and can you give me millions of dollars? Oh, we didn't mean that actually. Not exactly. Anyway, I will also to be concise. I will also create other parallel experiment with my favorite material, which is the clay. As you already know, I have several types of clay, and I use 2 types of clays. Clay can be a model to any kind of width that I want, and clay can be modeled to any type of width, and also it's really easy to create the drawing on it when it's still wet. So I'll use clay as well, and if they can actually if it will be successful to actually convert clay to gold, it's yeah. So let's start manufacturing buckets here. But we still have a long way. And now another issue is what will be the environment, which is a subject I speak about a lot. So I thought about doing this exercise inside of tuna cans, which will be covered with aluminum foil. And they will not be in the freezer, because I want to enhance, I will use several types of electricity enhancing method. We've already seen that electricity enhanced greatly, when done correctly, with the method of electrolysis inside the liquid which is conductive to electricity, which is, for example, the mixture that you've already seen me use many times, the semen, pee, alcohol solution, iodine solution, and iodine peroxide, and which is conductive to electricity. You've already seen that it's actually a great. Electrolysis helps a lot with the creation of life. So this was already established. But in that case, in our case, it's going to be a little different, because we don't use liquid. So I need to think about it a little more. But perhaps I will submerge everything with alcohol or other, maybe another liquid which is conductive to electricity, and still use the same old the method of electrolysis. Or perhaps we'll just connect the metal, the tuna can itself, which is conductive, to a direct current circuit, which is also a simple method of generating electricity, with with the hope that with regard to the aluminum foil, which will be surely part of the electrical circuit, and perhaps the Neros could be used the electrical energy. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they can. With the issue of, with clay, it's more complicated because I don't see how it could help, how it could be like electricity, like a current could be used unless it's again submerged in liquid, and the liquid itself is connected to the circuit, like with electrolysis or perhaps another method. But still, there is also another different approach, which is I have also had many experiments several experiments in the past, which turned out not to be successful. But I'm not yet. I didn't. Halted this kind of research. I just need more time. But which is a research with that relates to magnetism. This is something that I haven't spoke about a lot because I didn't get any besides maybe there was a couple of couple of videos there of the banana, like not nanobot, like the real banana, but the banana remains with bots that after magnetizing. Maybe you remember I call it magnetos, and I even uploaded like a slideshow with many of the artworks that were created following a pretty long exposure to magnetism. But it was really nothing conclusive and nothing that I really can. It was far from being something that you can actually speak about in any kind of certainty. So, but I still want, I have not abandoned this direction. So maybe I will enhance this experiment, or several sub experiments of gold creation with more elaborate ways of creating magnetic fields using electricity, of course, using direct current, and let's see how if it affects the efficacy of the work of the Neros. So a lot to do. We'll start tomorrow morning or perhaps very late this night. And of course, I will update you with all the results. We still have the living experiment. With the red oil paint, and when they are ready, I will move the worms to the big the compartment that I've already discussed with you, with the several layers and the sponge, if you remember, and which will be. Which will also be. It will be placed. On top of a metal base that I've shown you, and which should be a very interesting and long range experiment of raising the worms and see how they go, and later, of course, releasing everything to the wild, so they will be free and happy. Okay, so that's it. Bye for now.